Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Underground Wrestling Experience podcast. I am your co host, Lindsay, and with us we have our other co host, the experienced JS Michaels.
I am the experienced James Michaels, and what we do here, everybody, is we do whatever we can to put over our 570 Northeast PA and underground wrestling scene. We want to get everybody's name out there, and we've had some guests so far from Smash Master Wrasslin, but we're also going to bring on a Smash Master Wrasslin talent. He is a member of the think tank, protege of Dr. Ethan Wild, the father, husband, and he just founded BYO Wrestling, which had their first show in April. Ladies and gentlemen, Luca Mancini.
Hey
Welcome,
guys,
Luca. How
uh,
are you?
Yeah,
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure to properly represent 570 Wrestling.
Hell yes, I
absolutely.
agree. I don't think we have that enough.
We need some balance, and that's what 570 Wrestling is all about, right? We've got all kinds of things going on all over the place at all times. So one of the things that we have to thank right now is Classics Bar and Grill. Classics is kind enough to host Smash Master Wrasslin for our Classic series this summer. And breaking news: Classics Bar and Grill on St. Anne Street in Scranton will be accepting our Smash Burger Burrito Challenge. So I believe this is going to be hosted by Lindsay, but on the show day on January. Woo! Not that late in the year or early, depending on how you look at it.
January,
No,
don't rush through summer.
June
Don't.
June 17th for the Everything Bougie show, which nobody at Smash is happy about except Bougie
No.
himself and the Pantheon. We're going to host that Smash Burger Burrito Challenge where the Classics cooks are going to whip up the Smash Burger Burrito, which is essentially, got another page of notes here just for this. So it's like a Big Mac, folks. So it's beef and French fries, Big Mac sauce that's homemade, pickles, cheese, and lettuce and onions, all in a grilled burrito. And Lindsay here is going to host the taste test of that burrito live streaming on Facebook the day of the Smash Show, right before the doors open. So good luck, Classics. If you've never been to Classics Bar and Grill in Scranton, it's one of the best wing places, according to Ref Dylan Quinn, that you could ever eat. And he lives in Allentown,
Mark.
so he's saying in all of Eastern Pennsylvania, these are the best wings he's ever had. Hey, Luca, what's your favorite food there at Classics?
I'm a pretty simple guy, so I'm always pretty good for a classic burger: lettuce, tomato, no onion, medium well.
Nice. Nice. That's usually my go to, also.
So
Very
really
cool.
good burgers, really good wings, and it's a really fun place to have wrestling, as we saw last time. Um, so let's kind of get into the person here for a minute. How do you balance everything, Luca? I mean, in your intro, I mentioned you're a dad, you've got a real job, you're also a pro wrestler and a promoter. How do you manage all this stuff?
Well, first and foremost, I'm blessed with an incredible wife who balances a whole lot more of that than I do. I couldn't do anything that I do if it wasn't for her. So I'm pretty grateful for having her in my life. She's obviously the greatest thing that ever happened to me, in addition to my children. But it's not easy by any means to balance it all. But when you want to accomplish a lot, when you want to be successful, you got to figure out a way to balance things and make the most of every opportunity you get. Take advantage of the time I get with my family, as well as the time I get away from my family, to make sure that I'm not wasting any of that time. Because I mean, we all have a limited time here, but balancing all of those things, it feels like I have a limited time with everything that I'm trying to balance. So I
Mhm.
really try to make the most of all of it.
Because on top of all of that, you also have pets, correct?
I most certainly do. We have an 8-year-old English bulldog named Major, and we also we just took in 3 ducklings. So
Oh, so you have your hands very
yeah,
full.
I don't know how we got here, but 3 ducklings. Yeah.
How does your bully like the ducklings?
Uh, he doesn't. Nothing really phases him, which
Okay,
is good
cool.
because like the kids love to climb on him and ride him like he's a horse or pull his
Yeah.
ears. He's my daughter's favorite thing. So
Oh,
the ducks are just another thing that are kind of just here, and he's like, whatever.
yeah, exactly. We have an 11-year-old, almost 11. He'll be 11 on the 9th, French bulldog. And it's the same thing. We have 2 other little dogs. They will just throw themselves at him. And he's like,
Yeah.
it's fine. No problem.
I'm just here, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then I know your wife has been to shows, but your kids are still a little too young to come to shows, right?
My kids have been to some of the more local shows. They've been to the Frontier Pro Wrestling shows that we do, which
Oh,
are
cool.
really only like 10, 15 minutes from where I live. They've
Yes.
been to those shows. Those are a lot more family friendly than some of the, especially the show we had a couple weeks ago at Classics, which was not really all that family friendly. But
No, definitely
able
not.
to get them out to a Smash Master show because last year all the Smash Master shows were on Sundays and it was just hard to make it work. But they'll be
Yeah,
out soon.
definitely. Very good. And how old are they now?
I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
God love
18
you.
months, 19 months, whatever she is
Oh,
now.
my goodness. And I've seen pictures on the internet. They're adorable.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I have my thank you. They're adorable. They really are. But I have my hands full. They all
You
keep me
do.
very busy, keep me very tired. The oldest two are playing baseball, so if I'm not wrestling, if I'm not working, we're at baseball. So
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I understand. I have a almost 5-year-old niece, and my brother takes her to t-ball, and he also coaches the t-ball. So I understand how busy you are with that.
I've avoided the coaching so far, but sometimes I feel
Try
like I'm
and stay there.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna try their hardest to
Uh,
rope you in, and it's not gonna be easy.
And speaking of being roped in, there is a fellow named Dr. Ethan Wild that brought you under his kind of
Wonderful man.
wings within his corporation. So you've since kind of branched out, and there's been an aggressive corporate restructure underway, and you were given the power to recruit some folks, and you've put together what's called the think tank. So
Yes.
what were the thoughts behind selecting folks like Jason Furious and Mr. Intellectual Tavius, MIT?
Well, I was given a very clear directive for aggressive corporate restructure. Smash Master, for better or for worse, has been utter chaos from the beginning. And with this bougie takeover, that's a prime example of just how much in disarray Smash Master Wrestling is. And so Ethan Wild came to one of the events a couple months ago, and he's somebody who I've been very closely associated with over the last 6 months. I've grown closer to with in a business sense. We are both very strong business partners with similar goals in mind. So when he came out a couple months ago and we had the 6-man tag match or 6-person tag match, excuse me, with Brian Ace on our team against Ricky Price, MJ Stacks, and Riley Crow, it became very clear to him, especially in talking to me, that there needed to be a change. And Ethan Wild gave me clear instructions and direction on how to make that change and put me in a position to find individuals who had a similar mindset or had maybe been overlooked by the powers that be in Smash Master Wrestling to this point, and give them the same kind of opportunity I wanted to make Smash Master Wrestling something that we believed it should be, that we believe will better Smash Master Wrestling for the long term. And MIT, Jason Furious were the perfect, and I said in MIT's case, the smartest choices to make. Now, this, I don't think anybody could have possibly seen these two being paired together. They hate each other. We established that. They wrestled each other 3 different times, and every single time was more brutal than the last.
Absolutely.
And we saw in our first matchup together, they were not crazy about the idea. But as that match went on, they saw my vision. They saw our vision, myself and Ethan Wild. And from here, the sky's the limit.
And what you
So-
guys have done so far has been crazy awesome and so much fun to watch. And the way that you guys are organizing things, I think is going to be very successful.
Absolutely.
So
Things are
I'll be on the
falling
scenes.
apart. Sorry. Things are falling apart. This
Yeah.
everything bougie takeover is, like I said, a prime example. What has been going on with Ricky Price is a prime example that there's people getting opportunities, there's people being overlooked, there's people running rampant, taking control, like Bougie and Face. And that it's just gotten out of hand. And so we're here to bring some order to the chaos. We're here to establish what needs to be established to right the ship and get Smash Master Wrestling where it needs to go to get to the next level.
For sure. So the question is it just that vision that both MIT and Jason Furious got behind so that they could actually get along, because they've been kicking the shit out of each other for months. How does it just turn around just like that? Is Ethan Wild have that big of a bankroll, or what's the deal there?
I mean, I may not be in a position to talk about the kind of bankroll, as you say, Ethan Wild possesses. Certainly, Luca Mancini is not doing too bad himself. But sometimes the very best enemies make even greater friends, greater associates, if you will. And I think that's shown already to this point. And I'm excited for what we're going to be able to show in our next matchup on June 17th in Classics against Adina Steele, Mike Skyros, and Jacoby Riddick.
How do you see that going? What's your plan for that?
I can't share too much of my plan, but plain and simple, we intend on that being our biggest statement to date. Our debut, it was undeniable. We were cohesive from the very first minute. Once MIT and Jason Furious were able to get over their little, that little heat that they had between each other, it was clear that we were destined to do great things here. And we only further established that at the last Classic show. Now, Adina Steele, unfortunately, we'll say got the better of Jason Furious. But if not for Skyros and Riddick showing up, Furious had that match in the bag. So it's fair to assume, and I feel pretty confident in this, that at the end of our matchup, the think tank is going to be standing supreme.
So have we seen the last? Have we seen the last of additions to the think tank, or is this aggressive corporate restructure looking for more new hires?
I would say that business is ever evolving. Whatever is required to create more success, I'll leave the door open.
Good to know.
Good to know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking for a job, by the way, so don't even think about it. I've got other things on my mind right now that I can't talk about.
Duly noted.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So what's the end game for Think Tank? You want to bring order to Smash Master Wrasslin, but ultimately, is it running things, or are we going to subvert everybody in the back, so you guys are running and booking things the way you would like? Like, what's the end game?
Once we've established ourselves as a force, I don't think it's fair to say there's such a thing as an end game. Once we're there, it's whatever we want, because we're going to take whatever we want. We're going to take whatever opportunity we believe should be ours. We're going to eliminate whatever obstacle or talent, per se, stands in our way. We're at a point here where, I said, it's a pleasure to properly represent 570 Wrestling. And I meant that because you could have been predictable. You could have had Adina Steele on the show. You could have had the Diamond City War Machines on the show. It's bad enough you've already had Uncle Massey on the show. But myself, Jason Furious, MIT, we are what 570 Wrestling really represents. We are the heart and soul of this area. And we're going to prove that one way or another.
We look forward to seeing that.
Yeah. So what's the deal? Like, it doesn't sound like you get along with Bougie, yet he's controlling Smash's social media completely, and it seemed to the only match that he actually dropped or would let leak right now. What is he part of this aggressive corporate restructure, or is he on the other side of the fence and you just had some kind of rock, paper, scissors tournament to figure out who got, who got announced?
I'm more of an odds and evens kind of guy, but it's just business. It's just business. That's all I'll say.
So you're made a deal with the devil. Okay, great, lovely. Well, here's a question for you. You mentioned taking out Adina Steele, Killer Instinct, but there's one kind of factor that you haven't taken into account, and that's Adina Steele's dad. Do you really think that he's going to allow that to happen? Do you have a plan to contain that madman?
Adina Steele's dad? Are you serious? What is he, like 75 years old?
Hey, he's a spunky man.
He could be as spunky as he wants. So is Jason Furious. Break him.
Well, I think he's more interested in everybody else's shoes these days.
I don't know what you're trying to imply.
He's a thief. He wants to. Who do you think I'm talking about?
that could be the plan. Is he going to steal Adina Steele's dad's shoes, or maybe tie the laces together so he can't even get involved?
I don't
He's
know
not
if
going
you
to watch
saw
his little
how
girl get
Jason,
beat up.
I don't know if you saw how Jason Furious was dressed, but the last thing he needs is a new pair of New Balances.
I can agree to that.
So fast forward a year from now, where's Think Tank? Where do you see yourself in the corporation? Are you and Ethan Wild partners, or do you see yourself kind of stepping past Ethan Steele and taking over on your own? And where is this all going? I know that it's wrestling and there's certain stories we can't tell, but where do you see this going if you could have it your way?
I don't see any reason, and I don't know why you would try to push for any kind of narrative where there might be a break at any point, or that there might be any heat between myself and Ethan Wild at any point. In a year's time, the Think Tank, Wild LLC, we're kings of the mountain, kings of the 570, kings of HTW, kings of HTV. Whatever it is, we're going to take it.
So switching to some in-ring action you had recently, before the classic show, Smash Master Wrasslin, at the Troop Civic Center, you got to tangle up with some of folks from the Monster Factory that have been featured on Apple TV. You got Oliver and Daniel Alexander, right? We got No Colors, Just Bangers coming in the house trying to take down the Think Tank. What was it like working with those guys? And did you get starstruck a little bit, or were you even aware that they were on Apple TV at all?
Starstruck? Because they're on Apple
Look at
TV.
this man. Do you think he'd really get starstruck?
Dude,
They should be starstruck.
How many people have Apple TV? I mean, let's be honest. How many people have Apple TV? Do more people have Apple TV than, say, YouTube? Because you can just as easily see Luca Mancini on YouTube. No, I'm not on Apple TV. So no, I didn't get starstruck. I will not sit here and tell you that Daniel Alexander, Oliver, Just Saying aren't amazing talents. I think they showed that in the ring. But at the end of the day, myself, MIT, Jason Furious, we showed that we are better talents. We showed that we are a more cohesive unit, which is interesting because those three have worked together before that match. But we proved at the end of the day, what we're bringing to the table is something undeniable. What we're bringing to the table is something that cannot be ignored. And whether it's Daniel Alexander, Just Saying, and Oliver, or like I said, if it's Adina Steele, if it's Kit Rath, Uncle Massey, Diamond City War Machines, you stand them up, we're going to knock them down. So no, I didn't get starstruck by people because they were on Apple TV. Give me a break.
I love that answer.
If it was Goldie, maybe it would have been another story. But yeah.
But
All
only
right,
for like 2
so-
seconds, because then you get in there and you get your job done.
Exactly. He's really good looking. His face is kind of distracting,
Wait, how do you
So he
know
could
about him
possibly
if
be
you
the
don't have
face of
Apple
Think Tank
TV?
someday. Oh, wait a
Ooh.
minute. How does he know Goldie's even on it? That's a good question, Blue Star Bell.
Look, I'm always paying attention, right? I'm always in tune to what's going on. But myself and Goldie, we've shared a couple locker rooms. We've been in 1CW in Delaware together. So we've never had the opportunity to share the ring with one another, but that's how it come. But
Well, maybe you'll bring him into the think tank.
Never know.
Never know.
So,
So
one
after
question
the
quick.
classic,
Sorry,
Oh,
JS.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Are you prepared if Kit tries to get into the ring on the 17th?
I think I lost.
Oh, I think we lost him.
I think Kit might have disturbed his internet connection. So at this point, while we wait for an aggressive internet restructure from Luca Mancini, we will.
Oh, I think we
just
have him back.
Sorry, I
so
don't know
we're
if
just
that's
gonna
me or
remind
you
everybody-
guys.
Nope, that
No, you're
Hey,
back. You're back.
technology,
So we're just
you
gonna
never
remind
know.
everybody, June 17th, Classics Bar and Grill's doors open at 5. You want to get there early because the space fills up. We got a small backyard space filled with crazy ass wrestling fans, and Luca Mancini is back with us.
Yes, I'm
Yes. So I apologize. Let me take care of the dogs real quick.
back.
Oh, jeez. You got some hump action going on there. I mean,
Yes, we do. I will just try and block that for the camera. But my question to you is, are you prepared if Kit tries to get in the ring on the 17th?
I would I would strongly recommend that Kit Rath let his girl Adina Steele handle her business for herself. We got a pretty good view of what happens when Kit Raff bites off more than he can chew, with his old altercation in the main event with Bougie and Face. But they let him leave standing. They let him leave walking out of the building, walking back to his car. Maybe he took a drive to the hospital, but I'm telling you right now, if he gets involved in our match, there won't be any trip to the hospital. There won't be any walking out on his own 2 feet. We'll do what we have to do.
All right, so let's say Think Tank is successful. Let's say your plan plays out. You get the win at Classics Bar and Grill, and then fast forward to Smash X a few weeks later at the Troop Civic Center. Do we have any insight as to what type of challenge you may issue at Smash X, or what type of appearance you may make? I mean, is the doctor coming back? Where is the doctor anyway? Is he seeing patients? And what kind of doctor is he anyway? Proctology, perhaps?
That's neither here nor there. So we have our eye on some of the talent that has been announced for Smash X at the Troop Civic Center. We have a number of individuals in mind for whom we plan on challenging, but we're going to keep that under wraps for now. We're going to focus on Smash Master 9, everything Bougie, now apparently. We're going to focus on Adina Steele and Killer Instinct, and that's it.
Fair enough. Think Tank is focused, locked in, ready to go. I think we're all patiently waiting for Smash Master 9, everything Bougie, on June 17th, Classics Bar and Grill, because, you know, those of us involved in wrestling know that the longer time there is between wrestling, the more you want to be involved and the more you want something to happen. You just want any kind of show, some kind of show. By the way, breaking news for you, Luca. I just saw that the Enchantment Under the Sea prom on Saturday was actually canceled from High Tension. So that's definitely unfortunate, but
That's
just wanted to pass that along. Yeah.
It's incredibly unfortunate, but I feel it's important to make clear that sometimes you shouldn't mess with people like myself, or like Dr. Ethan Wilde. Perhaps they made a mistake when they banned Dr. Ethan Wilde from that show, from prom.
Oh boy.
Perhaps circumstances that were unforeseen shouldn't have been so unforeseen. That's all I'll say.
And sometimes karma will bite you in the ass.
Amen.
I guess so. So speaking of corporations, and who knows, maybe someday it'll become one, you are the founding father outside of the ring of BYO Wrestling.
Yes.
So what led you to help resurrect this underground gritty punk rock style that we kind of started, 20 years ago and then just kind of died? Like what drove you to that?
So I've actually only been in the business for a little under 3 years now. But I grew up in the hardcore scene. I grew up in the punk scene. My fondest memories are of punk shows and basements that had like 6-foot high ceilings with people pissing in the corner, nobody wearing shoes, and just awful, god awful music that you couldn't really hear. But I loved that scene. And being an older father, husband with a pretty good, thing going on, you don't get to go to stuff like that anymore as much. There's just no time for stuff like that anymore. But I also noticed that there was kind of an absence of that in the music scene as well as in the wrestling scene. I mean, I feel like a lot of Smash Master Wrasslin is absolutely an exception, but a lot of the promotions in this area are kind of pretty basic, cookie cutter. They don't there's no brand, there's no vibe or energy to some of these promotions in the area. The shows are kind of bleh. So I had an idea for a long time that I kind of sat on, and it was a passion project of mine, and I was just waiting, I guess, for the right opportunity to jump at it. And finally the right opportunity came about, and so I took a chance at it. I said, this is what I'm going to do. It was something I pretty much tackled on my as far as getting its legs and putting it together and piecing together what I wanted. The biggest thing was finding the right talent that could fulfill the vision that I had for BYO. And Man, they nailed it. Everybody involved nailed it. You guys nailed it. Everybody nailed what I was going for. The venue did a great job with what I was looking for. I'm very, very happy with the final product, and I'm planning on releasing that this Friday night. But everybody's going to get a pretty good look at that. But it was just something.
And thank you for bringing us into that. Like,
Yes,
that was a last minute thing where you included us, and it was one of the best things that we have done in quite a while, especially in that like punk rock underground scene. Like, when we walked in, we didn't know what to expect. Like, I grew up in the area, and I was like, I don't think any of these storefronts over here have that kind of room. And
Yep.
then so when we walked in, I was like,
They kinda
yes. No, they don't. They really don't. But it was so gritty, and you can feel like that punk rockness that it had. And some say that it was haunted. I'm not quite sure yet.
I saw
But
that.
yeah, no, neither did I. But it was just so much fun, and like nothing I've ever felt before in that type of space.
Yeah. And for me, it was reminiscent of when we started the kind of original. They got my underground wrestling T-shirt on today. The original underground wrestling in Wilkes-Barre. So, what started as a backyard kind of it evolved into more of a professional wrestling organization with folks getting trained, and just we didn't upgrade our circumstances though. We preferred the little gritty, punk rock environment. We started in a place called Cafe Metropolis in Wilkes-Barre, and that reminded me exactly of the Keystone stage. Like, it was tiny, it was intimate, and it was dirty. And I like that. I was like, oh my God, we're home. So I'm talking with Brad DeMeo and Eric Pinhat, who are all in that scene with me to begin with. And I was like, we're back. Like, this is full circle. Like, this is crazy. We used to have to pick up after bands late Saturday night. Well, I guess it was Sunday morning, like 12, 1 o'clock. They'd have bands, punk rock bands, and all sorts of folks. And there'd be cups and puke and garbage thrown everywhere. The front of the house was a cafe, by the way,
Yep.
just like the Keystone stage. And then the back was where we had the stage, just like the Keystone stage. So we had to clean up, set up the wrestling ring, pull the ring, which was the stage, put on some ropes and stuff, and get ready the next day. And I was just like, this is exactly. And our locker room was about the same size, except we changed in the window. We had nowhere else to change. So picture, 30, 40 people in the back, changing right in the window on Wilkes-Barre Boulevard. And then that's our story. So, thank you for this, like bringing us back, us old bastards back, and allowing us to go, oh my God, like this is our home again. And, making us feel at home and giving us the opportunity to perform is just amazing.
And it's crazy because I've actually, believe it or not, I've been to Cafe Met a couple times before they closed down, and it's crazy to try to even envision fitting a wrestling ring in there. I'm sure, like, that was the first thing when I walked in. I was like, be able to fit a wrestling ring, because there's not going to be a lot of room. But like, the more I look at the room, the more I kind of walk in. It's like, now we can make this foot ring. We can make this work. And like, it just came together so well. And like, having everybody kind of crowded around the ring, and I kind of wanted it to be like where the ring was, everybody was in the pit. We were right in it together. And of course, the first thing that happened in the first match was Ricky Price and MJ Stacks went for a dive, and everybody was like, we're gonna back up a little bit. but like, I don't know, just the
that's
energy.
What a lot of us. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go for it.
That's what a lot of us loved about ECW too, right? Back in the day, it was gritty,
right?
And you were always going to get wrestlers falling on top of you. You were going to get the guardrail kicked into you. They were going to throw you out of the way. They're going to drink your beer. I wasn't old enough to drink back then, but they were going to spill something on you. They did not care, and it was that vibe times like 1,000. But to be able to kind of reproduce that like one of a kind fan experience is what makes like this whole underground type thing strong and amazing and unique compared to a lot of other wrestling.
Absolutely. And like MIT was on the card, for example, and he was somebody who was put in his position because of kind of the vibe of the show. And, you had, I think there were not even 10-foot high ceilings. And so he's a guy who likes to take to the air a lot. He had to adjust his game. So now you're challenging these guys to come up with another way to do what they do in the ring and find another way to be successful in the ring and, entertain. And everybody did a great job of finding a way to fit into that mold and entertain the fans and do what they had to do to perform at their very best. And I thought that was pretty cool that, like, okay, so he's like a dude, you know, who likes to fly off the top ropes and do crazy flips and all that stuff. But now you got him doing some little ground and pound and technical wrestling with Squid, and you're like, all right, MIT's got a little bit of everything in him, you know. And that was a good opportunity for me to do a little scouting for somebody who I had my eyes on, because, like I said, smart choice. But was he something that I was looking for Think Tank? Absolutely, and that only solidified it. But I was so happy with how BYO turned out. I'm so excited to do more of it, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, and because of that show, I've talked to Uncle Masty about this. My nephew was not an avid wrestling fan because he has only seen what is on television and he was not interested. And he only lives 10 minutes down the street from there. So my sister brought him two of his friends and my dad, who you would never think would be interested in something like that. But now, because of that show, they are hardcore, lifelong fans, and they absolutely fell in love. They liked the punk rock feel. They liked that they were able to get up close and personal and touch the ring. And they are now fanatics. So now they think they can go to any show and touch all the rings, which is not the case. But
You're gonna get angry wrestling vet mad.
yeah, no, I was especially at the Smash shows. I'm like, please no, get out of here. But you turned them into such huge fans by the show that you had put on, and I'm so appreciative of that show and everything that you have done.
I try to stress all the time too, like, people don't understand, because like you get a lot of people, they're like, you do pro wrestling, or that's kind of whatever, that's weird. Like, I've never really met anybody, and before I started pro wrestling, I had never met anybody that actually did it before either. But I try to tell people all the time, like, you got to come to a show. Absolutely. Like, okay, you don't like what you see on TV, that's fair. Maybe the TV products aren't up to par, you know, it's not 1998, you're not getting Stone Cold throwing back beers and all the crazy stuff that used to happen. So indie wrestling in itself is just a completely different animal. And I've experienced so many people who have come out to watch me now because I do what I do. Like, my sister-in-law is a prime example of somebody who thought it was ridiculous and is like my biggest fan now. Because you come to a live wrestling show and it's just completely different. And it's like the characters and the emotions and just everything going on. It pulls you right in.
Oh,
and so
absolutely.
I'm glad that BYO was able to do that for your nephews, because like, that's what I want. That's what we want in this business. We don't want it to die. You know, always, the older people are always like, oh, wrestling's dying. It's not what it used to be, whatever. Nonsense. Cool. It's a niche thing now, whatever. But we want people who have never seen wrestling before to come out to a show and be like, I am never missing another show again. And we had that at Classics. There were tons of people. There were people, for some of the boys that came from Pittsburgh, that they happened to have family in Scranton. And these people came out to see a show and they're like, we are never going to miss another Smash Master show. And it's like, that's what you want. Man. That's what you want. Because we're trying to get this 570 area back to where it was once upon a time, right? We're trying. And things like that are going to get it there. And I keep stressing that to Masty, is like BYO was fantastic. I had so much fun. I'm glad a lot of people had fun, but I was like, yo, Smash Master's the one that's going to put this area back on the map as like a scene that people have to come to the shows.
I think it's both of you working in unison that's really going to do that, especially when there is no Smash on the weekend and people are dying for something. To have BYO and have it be something that's just as great as Smash, I think is going to be a beautiful partnership there for that and our fans.
Friday night, come see a band, come see some people beat the shit out of each other and have fun, man. Drink a beer, whatever you gotta do, you know?
Hell yes, I agree.
So let's say you had $1 million. Now, this is going to be a tough question for you because you want to keep it intimate, right? What would you do with BYO if you had $1 million? What would you change? What would you keep?
I have aspirations of still keeping it intimate. And so if I had $1 million, my aspiration would still be to keep it intimate. But it would be a bigger venue. It'd be with a bigger band. I would love. There's some bands that I have in mind that I'm going to get crazy and reach out to and book them. And my wife's probably going to kill me. But like, I have something in mind for not too far down the road that I really want to shoot for. So I would love to find a place that's bigger than the Keystone stage, but still tighten it enough and has that energy of a punk rock show that can carry that energy, that has a reputation for carrying that energy, but that I can fit maybe, 300, 400, 500 people into, jam them into a building and put a ring in the middle and put an incredible band on stage. And so $1 million would make that a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So what did you learn from being a first-time promoter after that first show? So you've never promoted a wrestling event before, put it all on the line, put it together, picked the talent, glued it all together, and then actually made it happen, pulled it off, and it was highly rated. By the way, Paige Watchie, those black and white photos, I
Oh,
use them all
so
the
good.
time. They're beautiful.
So
Like
good.
just
She's incredible.
some of the best. She's one of
Yeah.
the best in the industry. But back to you, what did you learn? What will you continue doing? What will you stop doing? What might you change up a bit?
So I've assisted in running a handful of shows, at least on like the creative end of things. So I've had a hand in at least seeing some of my ideas develop into stories that were meaningful and that were brought to life in the ring. But you saw the pictures, like you see my stupid face in the background and Massey sitting there bleeding all over the place eating a potato, and like there's this big giant grin on my face because I think it was really important for me to, for those who don't know, who weren't there, and obviously the show hasn't aired yet. So I was ring announcer for the night, which was an experience in itself that I was kicking myself for before. I'm an idiot. I put myself on the mic. I every match. But the opportunity to sit there and actually take witness to everything that was going on in the ring instead of running around crazy backstage, I would strongly recommend that to anybody else who's running a show, to try to get runners and different people in place so that you can be out there, sit back, watch what you've created come to life pretty much. And like my big stupid grin on my face is a perfect emphasis of like how important that was and how much fun. Like I was a fan, man. Like I'm a worker, I wrestle, I do the thing, but like I was a fan that night and everybody brought it. But I don't know, something that I learned. I think the show ran a little too smoothly because like I didn't have like any super hardships or anything. Like even putting the ring together wasn't like, that's always like a pain in the ass. We had no problems with any of that stuff.
No, that went up quick. Like we got there early and we expected to totally fully get in there, get our hands dirty. And the brothers Gray were like, we've got this. We just have to tighten the belt up a little bit and get it all going. And we were like, okay.
The biggest thing for that show, and I would say for any show that I've been on before that I did have like a hand in creative and kind of a hand in like moving tickets and stuff, is I didn't promote enough. At the end of the day, we couldn't fit any more people in that building anyway, but I didn't promote enough because I want 100 people. I want 150 people there. And I pretty much waited until the last week leading up to the show to do any kind of footwork or anything like that. So in the future, I would definitely just work on getting sponsors and just work my ass off to make sure that there's more asses in the proverbial seats, because we don't have chairs at BYO, but at least not to sit in. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of promotions in this area, a lot of promotions period, ever since COVID. It seems like it's a little harder to get people to come out. But I think that we're not doing enough of a job to promote the events that we're running, to promote the events that we're on. People still want to come see wrestling. People want to come out and have a stupid night on a Saturday and just see people beat the nonsense out of each other. And so that's probably the biggest thing I learned is promote, honestly, promote, because everything else came together perfectly. I gave people minimum direction. We didn't have any specific stories because going into it, I was like, we'll do this as a one-off. If it goes really well, we'll build from it. But minimum direction. Even the band, I was like, you can do this, whatever you want. Fill that time, go for it, go crazy. And they killed it. The fading season was fantastic. But yeah.
And that's what makes it awesome, right? Because there was no elaborate this match goes, and then this match goes, and then this is what happens, and there wasn't like 50 different paragraphs as to what people do or what storylines they're trying to. It's just like go out there and fucking have fun.
Yep.
And that was amazing. And I think that's your marketing strategy, right? This is wrestling for people who aren't wrestling fans. That is something that you and Masty could capitalize on huge, because there's a lot of those that don't even know they like wrestling, like Lindsay's nephew, that will get addicted to this style, right? And then they'll go and watch WWE and go, cool, we got Seth Rollins and all, and Roman Reigns and all those big names, but I don't feel like I'm part of this. It's not the same. When's the next show?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like you said, like it, kind of gave everybody an opportunity to just be who they are. That's exactly, BYO. Bring your own. Yeah, it was, kind of a play on BYOB, but it was also bring your own wrestling. Bring who you are to the table. And everybody did it. The talent impressed me so much. And like everybody walked out very happy. Thankfully.
Yes.
I hope it stays
They really did.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think it's just going to go up.
The scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
We really like from the bottom of our hearts for speaking for me and Brad and Eric and Rosh and everybody who saw our scene die 20 some years ago. Thank you for bringing this style back. It's just home, man. Thank you so much. So what we like to do with our podcast lately, and I say lately as if we've had many episodes, third one, we like to do a little bit of a fun segment at the end where we have you kind of take on a challenge. So who's your favorite current WWE or AEW superstar?
Current favorite, I'll say carefully because Bryan Danielson is absolutely one of my all-time favorites. He's still actively wrestling. I, however, don't necessarily love everything he's currently doing. I enjoyed more of what he was doing last year when he was doing single stuff more so than what he's doing in BCC. But current favorite WWE or AEW wrestler right now is Roman Reigns. I think he just very much so understands the simplicity of what wrestling can be. He doesn't do anything crazy. I mean, I know people rag because he literally only does like 5 moves, but he doesn't do anything crazy. He tells his story based on his movements and the time he takes and the dominance that he showcases. And then in the times when he's on his heels, everything that he does and everything that they've been doing in the storyline with the Usos, with the Bloodline, with Sammy, with KO, he's fantastic. And a lot of people don't want to give him his due. But there's nobody better in the world right now than Roman Reigns.
I am there with you. I have been a huge fan since shortly after the Shield. I wasn't necessarily a Shield fan. I liked it when they kind of all split off and did their own things.
Broke my heart.
Well, I liked the Shield, but I liked it better when they broke off and had their own stories. And I have been a huge fan of Roman Reigns from the beginning, and I think he is one of the most underrated wrestlers right now in the WWE roster.
Which is crazy to say underrated because he's literally the best in the world.
I agree.
Or at least one of the best in the world.
In my opinion, I agree, but there are still a lot of fans out there that will highly disagree with us, and I think JS Michaels might be one of them. He's not a big Roman Reigns fan. Not sure why, but I agree.
I wasn't when he was a face.
Yeah, heel Roman is such a difference.
I agree.
So this was where the fun challenge comes in. So that was kind of a loaded question. I want you to cut a quick promo as Roman Reigns.
Oh, no. As Roman Reigns?
Yes, please.
You can say 2 words if you need to, and that'd be an easy one.
Or just a look. If you think he would cut a promo by just using a look, do it.
That's the beauty of Roman Reigns, though, in a nutshell, right? Like, he doesn't have to say much. Even before, when he was a face, he didn't have to say much. It was that brooding, kind of hulking, like, I'll rip your head off or tackle through you with a spear kind of thing, right? But I got nothing for Roman, man.
Do you have another character that you could do?
Yeah. Do you do a good promo, a good impersonation of Macho Man or somebody that you could...
Ooh, yeah, it's the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right,
I love
so
that.
Lindsay's got 2 more challenges for you. You know what they are.
I do. The first
Lindsay
one is something that is an open challenge from Ric Flair. He is looking for the best person to do the woo. So we want you to do 3 Ric Flair woos, and we will cut this part and tag him in this so he will see this.
3 woos? Like
3,
consecutively?
yeah. Any way you want to do it.
My wife's going to kill me because I'm going to yell.
Well, tell her I apologize.
Woo! Woo! And one more, baby. Woo!
Nice. I love it.
Your boy would be proud. Okay.
He would be
All right.
proud.
Amen.
And
And
then
we actually got to meet him.
We did.
Was it last year for the
Almost 2
NFL
years.
kickoff season? 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, time flies. But we were in
Mhm.
Tampa, and he just happened to be at a bar, you know, because he just runs around Tampa and drinks all day and
I'm
hangs
sure.
out. And there he is. So craziness. One last challenge for you from Lindsay before we wrap up. Lindsay, what's the last one you got?
Besides yourself, who is your current favorite 570 wrestler? It can be in any fed.
I could do the MIT Jason Furious thing, but I'll go around that. I'll say somebody who I've worked with a lot, somebody who I don't know, maybe a lot of people wouldn't say, and maybe I'm kissing a little bit of ass, but Uncle Masty is capable of working a variety of matches with a variety of talent. I've had the privilege of sharing the ring with him now maybe 4 times. The most recent, I was in a very unfortunate dog collar match, which we just experienced another one with him. But
Yes.
He's capable of telling a story very well, very simply. Even to do it with somebody like myself, who is literally half his size, like he just understands what fans actually want to see, which at least in this area, for the most part, really isn't a whole lot of technical wrestling, rolling around the mat, doing any of that. It's beating the shit out of each other. It's telling a story of how much you hate each other. He gets it, honestly. And I think this last year or so of Masty, he's showcased that he gets it, whether it's with Bougie, whether it's with Hawthorne, whether it's with myself, whether it's beating the shit out of the Diamond City War Machines with Kit Raff. Like, it's just, he understands what, at the very least, the 570 is looking for. And like I said, it might kind of sound like kissing ass, but Masty's probably one of my best friends in this business. I don't keep a whole lot of friends, but he's absolutely one of my best friends in this business. And I would wager to say he's my favorite. Maybe he's not the best here, but he's one of my favorites here.
I totally love that answer. And then, so can you cut a promo as Uncle Masty? Oh, this is a huge thing to try and fill his shoes.
So you want me to talk like Uncle Masty? Get real close to the camera. Sip my beer. Talk about how I'm getting real sick and tired of how Bougie and Face have been showing their face around my parts and how they're interfering with what we're trying to do here in Smash Master Wrasslin. And now you guys have beaten my face in quite a few times. I got my ass dragged around with a dog collar most recently. But let me tell you right now, on June 17th, Jay Bougie, Face, Hawthorne, you're going to get smashed!
Nice. That was
Nailed
so
it.
good.
Nice.
Awesome.
So Masty, if your face is keeps you from wrestling on June 17th, I think we can get Luca Mancini in some overalls and a wig, and he could just sub in for you. I don't know if the fans would notice at all.
Whatever I got to do, man.
Yeah, we'll just paint you up a little bit, make it look
you
like you have your eyebrow all fucked up.
Oh, it looks like we lost Luca. But with that, we are at the
We're
end
back,
of
we're
our
back.
broadcast anyway. Oh, he's coming in and out. Are we back?
Yep,
He's back.
we got
He's
him.
back. All right, Luca.
Perfect
well,
timing.
Thank you for joining us. Ish, are you back?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
here.
there's a smile. Okay.
I'm here.
Thank you for joining us.
You're kind of frozen.
Okay. I think we should be good.
Sorry, I'm not moving, so it looks like I'm frozen.
All right. So what do you got coming up besides Smash Master? I just want to give you a chance to quickly plug your upcoming shows. I know we mentioned the HTW
I was supposed to
prom
have
canceled.
I was supposed to have the Enchantment Prom on June 10th in Reading, but unfortunately that has been postponed or canceled for the time being. So my next event is indeed Smash Master Wrasling on June 17th at Classics. Myself, MIT, Jason Furious, the Think Tank versus Adina Steele, Mike Skyros, Jacoby Riddick. After that, we've got a very eventful July between Smash Master and Frontier, and there's something else I'm missing that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I know July is very, 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 very busy month. So we got a lot up ahead.
And do you have it
Yeah.
posted all on your socials so everybody can go check it out?
Say that again, sorry.
Are all the events posted on your social media accounts? So if people want to go check out the dates that you're wrestling and where?
At the very least, my upcoming June and the early Smash Master 10 show have been shared. Some of the other stuff, not so much yet.
Okay, perfect. So we'll just keep a lookout for all that for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon
Well,
we'll
thank
have
you
a
for joining
BYO
us.
show to announce as well.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
boy.
I'm
I was gonna
dying
ask
for
you to-
another.
to drop the news, but I don't think you have everything
It's not
squared
quite
away
set
yet.
in stone yet, no.
Not quite. But you can always come back or do a quick one with us to have breaking news on our 570 Wrestling Experience page. We just had breaking news yesterday with George and Gus the Savage, which if you'll want to look back at the George podcast to see what happens on
I'm
that
sure.
one. And that's only going to get
Oh,
this
yeah.
year too. But thank you so
Yes.
much, man, for joining us.
Thank
Hope
you
you
for
have a
having
good night. Hope you and your family stay blessed. You enjoy your pets, and hopefully you don't get any more because we need you to be at front and center running BYO Wrestling. We need your head in the game, man. I appreciate for joining us tonight. Have a great night.
Yes, thank
you,
you.
Luca.
You guys as well. I can't make any promises about getting more pets. They're talking about goats and some other stuff, so you never
Ooh.
know. But
You're close enough to us that I can come like hang out and play with them, and then I won't get any more myself.
that's not how that works. You got to get more. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Really appreciate you. Have a great
Thank you,
night.
Luca. Bye.
Bye.
570 Wrestling Experience is your hub for all that is the Northeast PA underground wrestling renaissance. 570 Wrestling Experience brings together content from all of the talented wrestlers, photographers, and promotions in the 570 and collects it for you all in one place. For wrestling personalities and other folks, our goal is to put you over. We are the place to help promote what you've got going on, and the way this works is simple. It's social capital. In other words, you share, like, and interact with what we post, and in turn, we'll promote your content as well. 570 Wrestling is also home to original content, including Note to Self, the JS Michaels Travel video blog, and the all-new Underground Wrestling Experience podcast. Also, be sure to check out shop.570wrestling.com for exclusive tees and other merchandise you will not find anywhere else. Check out all we have to offer on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube with handle @570Experience.